So usually I just say, hey, there's no formal intro to this podcast. I like the guests to introduce themselves because sometimes I don't do my homework.
Yeah.
No, I'm just kidding. But no, I just think sometimes.
Well, you have my signature right
no,
there.
I see it. But trust me, I have some questions. But we want you to introduce yourself. Welcome to the Jardín podcast. So thank
you.
Yeah.
I'm Angie Gia Lim.
Yeah.
I go by Gia here too because I've been in gaming and hospitality here. Gia.
Okay. All right.
Not Geo.
Okay. Got it.
For a minute and retired in 2017. But so Angie Gia Lim. Go by both Angie or Gia.
Nice.
Yep.
And what are your roles currently with cannabis?
With cannabis, so with GT, with GT, Green Therapeutics, Tsunami Provisions, once upon a time GT Flowers.
Yep.
So I'm one of the owners, and I do all the HR, compliance, accounting, APAR, all of that, all the fun stuff. Facility kind of director, office manager.
So you're like you're the organized person of this whole situation here.
Yeah, you can kind of see that.
I love that.
Yeah,
We got
I'm a stickler of plans and getting prepared. And all that.
I mean, it was great. You walked in and had paperwork for Dr. Fu, so it was like you just kept the job going, which is amazing.
Yeah.
Well, thanks you for hanging out. We're really doing this in celebration of Asian Heritage and Pacific Islander Month. It is in May, so Filipinos, we're always excited when we see different Filipinos, and that stays true
in
for
the industry,
in the industry and Asian as well. And I think mostly when you think of cannabis, you're not really think of. I don't think Asians really this is not the job that their parents wanted them to be in necessarily.
I think
stereotypically
taboo,
black and white.
Right?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's the borderline.
Borderline.
Getting there,
Yeah,
right?
right?
Because I don't really see it that way, though.
Right. Well, I don't think we necessarily do. We're more the modern, but
I think it's like growing up, right?
Totally.
If your household was super traditional and. Then I get that, but I don't know.
Well, my mom still thinks I'm a bad boy. I'm a bad boy for smoking weed.
I know, yeah, but we all were rebellious, right?
Exactly. I mean, I've got my mom a few gifts over the years through working with Wiz and cannabis.
They've definitely opened up.
I feel like that she's okay. She's asking me for CBD and stuff like that.
Yes, that's actually on my little notes.
Which
here.
is cool. Okay, so you
CBD,
got some notes. I like
CBD, DH, and all that.
I like this. So. Are you, before you even got into this space, were you a user? I hate using that word, user.
I know.
Were you a partaker in cannabis or what?
It wasn't my medicine of choice, right? Growing up, because that was everyone remember back then.
Where are you from originally?
I'm from Southern California.
Okay, see, Southern California breaks all the rules for us East Coast Asians,
and they still do. Yeah, born in Hollywood, California. Grew up in Diamond Bar, which we call it Diamond Far because it's really far. Are you familiar with Southern California?
Everything's far in California.
I know, right? But there's nothing to do. We have
2 miles
Dogs.
is far.
We have Snoop Dogg.
Yeah, of course.
Okay, so that was fun. But I'm from Southern California, so it's kind of.
So it was always a part of it.
I feel like it always was.
Were your parents? Are you first generation or?
Yeah, my parents are. They're so half, right? I feel like a lot of Filipino families they're half because the English, you guys, that was kind of second language, right? Mm-hmm. So, but with being Korean, South Korean, my parents are from South Korea. My mom.
They're from there. So you're first. So you are first generation.
So they're born in South Korea.
Yep.
But my mom came when she was 17. My dad 25. So it's not too bad.
Right.
But I think what happens is they just hang out with Koreans, right? Well, my dad Mexicans and Koreans. That's it. So he knows Spanish and Korean.
Right.
He did not want to learn English. English. My mom, she went to college in LA and all that stuff. So it's a little bit different. So my mom was
they were felt a little bit more modernized, you think?
Yeah, a little bit. It wasn't too bad.
So when, how old were you when you first started smoking weed?
That wasn't I tried it when I was 13.
Okay.
Right? Back then, everyone started younger. Let's be real, guys.
Right.
Right.
No, it's okay. It's okay now. It's okay.
It's okay. But now, because we have a 14-year-old, I don't know about that.
Right. That's crazy, right?
No. I'm no. Yeah. I'm I don't. I'm what's wrong with your eyes? Why is it red? So I get it. We all get it. What our parents used to say to us. Now I'm there it is. But 13, I tried it. It wasn't my thing.
Right.
You know, that was my medicine of choice.
Right. And there's a lot in between. But now are you?
Yes. There's a lot. I'm not 13 anymore. Right.
So it sounds like you went through like some hospitality things in Vegas, and it seemed like a lot of people started there. Waldo was telling me, Zach, of course, our managing partner here. And then you found yourself in this cannabis space. How did that end up happening?
So like I was saying, I was in gaming hospitality, 15 years. 2017, I retired. I said, I'm done. We had, my kids were getting older and all that stuff.
The club is just hard.
Yeah, and I was climbing that ladder, I was getting to management. So that's demanding. And gaming industry is very, how do I say this? Intense. Right. You go to work and
it doesn't grow with you. It just stays the same.
No, it's what if you're not hustling and putting your all like 150%, then there is an energy of like you can be fired at any given. Right. So that's what it is. So I'm like, with the kids growing up and all that, I'm like, I need to choose a different path. So I got into real estate. So I got my license and everything, and then Duke is a good friend of mine for a long, long time of ours, and
I feel like Duke low key. He's a party animal. We don't have to go there. I feel like low key. He's got the doctor. He came in with the scrubs. He came with the big words, but I'm like, he kept kind of being like, I've tried some things, and I'm like, this guy.
Let's just say within that 15 years, a few of those years, me and Duke were in the club scene in Hollywood. Okay.
Right.
So
that's all you have
go.
to say.
That's all I'm going to say. Okay. Right. That's all I'm going to say. But so 2017, it all kind of happened at the same year. 2017, I'm like done. And when I say done, it was like I woke up one day and I was with Hakkasan Group that time, and I said, I quit. Right. Like just overnight. Because I knew it.
That's good though. I mean, I think you listened to whatever was speaking to you.
And I always think, there's no one knows if the grass is greener on the other side. You make it green for yourself. Right. Green.
I love that.
You like that, right?
I love that.
Going into the green.
I love that.
Transitioning. So I got into real estate. I did the course. Got my license. Did all that. And Duke, there was already a medical license there. And then he's like, hey, you want to kind of get into it, invest. So we did. And
for those who are just joining us and don't know who Duke is, Dr. Duke Fu is the founder of Tsunami and GT.
Green Therapeutics is a
okay.
legal entity, and then you have the brands,
entity.
right?
So that's who we're referencing if anyone did not see the last podcast.
Yep. So we invested, became owners, and
here we are.
And then it went rec in the same year.
Amazing. And did you know it was going to go rec in that year?
No, we didn't. I think it was July, right? July 1st, it went rec.
And at that point,
so
you're like,
wow, great investment.
Let's jump into, because I don't think people like when they, how many people will call me and be like, we want to put out a strain out here. And I'm just like, it is, or like they'll be like, oh, we got a strain in Texas or wherever we're at. How can we get it in your shop? I don't think people really recognize how much legal shit goes on with cannabis. The compliance game is not a joke.
It's not a joke.
And it's different in all different states.
And I do compliance, so
that's where I'm headed.
That's
where I'm headed right here. You are the I would say you're like the calendar for the group. You're the one that I feel like gets it organized. I see all of your roles in it, HR and doing all this stuff. How important is that for people who don't really recognize that is a big piece of the success, because there's so many rules, number one, and by all means,
I think before in 17, I forget what year, but then it was like taxation. Taxation was the CCB, if you want to say, and then CCB was formed, and then now they are the majority of the compliance side of the cannabis industry. It's gotten a lot more stricter, right, as we all know. But it's huge because, let alone running a business, you have a bunch of different personalities, employees, management that always have to be on top of the compliance side. Right. Then you bring in partners. I call it piggybacking off licenses. Right. When they kind of do the brands, wanting to bring brands from other states to Nevada. Yep. But then you're adding an extra layer of a team, right? And make sure everything is
buttoned up.
Yeah, because anything is like audits. I'm sure we've all heard about the bathroom, toilet papers not being on the, paper towels not being in the holders or whatnot. That's like a ding and all that. So even down to that is just huge.
Where here? Like that's a ding? If the toilet paper is not on the toilet paper roll?
Cardboard boxes cannot be on the floor.
Let's talk about real quick. Yeah. Isn't it wild how lazy that is to not put the toilet paper back? And I'm guilty of that sometimes. I'll run out and I won't throw out the
brown
the brown part, and I'll just and my mom would be so upset.
Oh, exactly.
But all it would take for me is
not
that.
Everyone.
But that's
not
actually
everyone.
wild.
It's not, and that's the thing. And it's a hit or miss, right? And it's no one's perfect, but you got that one person that's just maybe in a rush and it happened, and you never know when they're gonna come visit you.
Right.
And so
let's talk about because I think there is a space like this, but I think if you're from California, like it's just different. You're from the Bay, you're from California. It's different from the rest of the country.
San Francisco to Bay to
like your parents don't feel any way about you working in cannabis or anything like that, right? Or do they feel any way about weed at all, or
no, not. When I was growing up, my siblings and I, like, there was more of that, but wasn't even that bad.
You're grown now.
Yeah,
so.
I mean, not gonna lie, I'm the middle child. Is true what they say about the middle child.
Yeah.
So
you wild?
Rebellious.
You're rebellious. Okay.
I'm passionate. That's it.
Okay.
but now they're good. They're cool. Like, your parents. I've gave them some bags of edibles.
Wow.
They tried it.
Your parents. Wow.
Uh-huh.
Wow.
And a lot of it stems from, and that was part of your question, like, how do you consume and all that?
Right.
A lot of people, I feel like they get into it because insomnia or can't sleep or some sort of,
Right. Well, that's weird because it never came from, when I explored cannabis, it never came from I need to chill. It was like recreational. Yeah, I want to get high. And I'll say this.
Are there things I cannot say here?
No, you could. Yeah, you could definitely say it. I don't think CCB could stop us from saying anything here.
Okay.
Fuck that. No, I'm just kidding.
Hey,
we don't want to say it. No. We love CCB. We're just kidding.
No, really, they are.
No.
Just do what you got to do. Follow the rules. And just like everyone else, though, we deal with Clark County, all that stuff. You and I, we have to talk to each other with respect.
Right. No, that's really cool, and I love the idea of that, that there could be a space for people. That's what I'm saying. The plan is offered so many jobs, from the top to, I don't want to even say the bottom, but from entry level jobs to whatever. I mean, every aspect of it. The plant is offering that to us, so it's pretty amazing. So I do feel like it's cool for maybe someone who is in an admin situation, and they are also cannabis advocates, that they can be in a space like you, because not only are you doing that, you're one of the owners, which is pretty awesome.
And I come from zero, like, honestly, like, no cannabis background, so even with my position and all that stuff, is even if someone never had like a management experience.
Right.
But they're very familiar and passionate and just, good, like a team, like good at teamwork,
So you don't
climb that ladder.
You don't even have to do cannabis to be in the space
I mean,
as
realistically,
well,
like packaging, maybe trim on the cultivation side, definitely, for sure, right? And the sales side. You can't, it's not like the nightclub scene selling bottles, right? I mean, we've had that during COVID, unfortunately. A bunch of my friends, like, what happened there. I'm sure you have a lot of friends. Mm-hmm. And my DMs are like flying off. And they're like, hey, are you guys hiring? I can sell all the bottles. Right. I'm like, yeah. And they're like, yeah, you need a sales manager? I'm like, yeah, but you consume.
Right.
And they're like, no. I'm like, never?
That makes it tough.
They said no. I was like, well, it's not like selling bottles, because then what if you go to Jardín?
Right.
And how are you going to, like, explain the strain and the effects of it, and even know the feeling, all that stuff? You need to know that. That's where packaging side maybe so.
Well, if you guys are ever hiring a lab rat, I'd be, a pretty good lab rat. I like.
Oh, really? Okay.
But no, thank you for having this space with us. I think it's also cool to see. So what I want people to really recognize here is that, this is it's an Asian-owned company, which is great. Yep. And one of the owners is a woman as well, which you're checking two great boxes there, and because I really do feel like like most spaces, it's a male-dominated space, or it's a white male-dominated space. Mm-hmm. But I love to highlight these amazing cultural things that are happening here. So we appreciate you. Breaking it down. What else did you have in your notes that we haven't touched on?
Oh, that was just from the email that you sent over. I don't know. Do we go through all of that?
I think we did a pretty good job.
I think so. Yeah, cannabis space. Yep.
How do you feel like Tsunami operate or GT operates, and what's different about GT versus some of the other companies that are.
I mean, I don't know how the other companies really operate. I know for the most part, like, you know, I know a lot of the. Well, we're manufacturing, right? So dispensary retail versus manufacturing, maybe a little bit different, right? Just because we have like the first cost of everything, right? The lab tests and this and packaging and and I also do that. I do all the packaging stuff. I help design it. And
are the packaging laws pretty crazy here? Because I know in Florida, like, so I went to do the launch of Khalifa Kush in Florida, and it's all white. Like, there's no, you can't have any.
Oh, really?
Like,
I don't.
there's
Yeah,
no even color in anything. It's just white.
Florida? I actually thought it would be the opposite. They're so like.
Yeah, I don't even think you could have billboards there.
Oh, wow.
Promoting it as well.
Yeah. No, here.
What are the packaging rules here?
It's pretty. There's like a specific font, and words you can't put like hi. You know, like.
Can you put like, because I know like cartoon type things. You can't.
No, nothing that like is gonna please like children.
Kids. Yeah.
Yeah, like cartoons and stuff like that. Or even words like you know that Hi Chew candy?
Yeah.
You can't do like hi, High chew.
Oh, wow.
You know what I mean? Because
I mean, but I feel like that a lot of the packaging still gets away with it looking fun and
they
like,
do. I was gonna actually ask you when I first came in. Like, I know they, you know, there's always gonna be shoppers too. I'm sure they have people that go around and kind of do the due diligence,
right?
And go to the retail stores and check. I know early on we had some like, hey, you can't have this and stuff like that, but they'll let you know. They're pretty cool. Like they'll let you know initially. They're just not gonna be like, here you go, pay this bill.
Right.
You know, they'll let you know that like you have to correct it, and if you order like 50,000 of it, like that sucks.
Damn.
You know, it's better than let you correct it than.
I'm still tripping about the toilet paper holders.
Yeah,
which is wild.
Someone did not mute.
It's all good. It's all good.
No, but yeah, that's, you know, but that's how serious I take it.
Right.
You know, even down to that little thing.
No, I love that.
You know,
as recreational, I don't want to say user, as a recreational person that is partaking in cannabis, how do you like to consume? Are you concentrated? Do you flower?
I'm like weird.
Okay.
So
weird is good. Let's hear it.
Dabbing. So I go from zero, like nothing to like
Yo, I mean, dabbing. If you got to bring out a torch for anything,
I think it's fun. Flower. I mean, we go camping a lot.
Right.
Like camping. Like I have a green TRD 4Runner, roof tent,
That's
everything.
Fun. I want to go.
You know, bed in the back. When you lay it down, you can inflate it. All that stuff. Like ladder popping out and pull over and go. So like camping. I mean, flower is all the way.
Do you think
it's just really relaxing? And
do you think that you guys would get into like a mushroom space, something like that, eventually down the line?
I don't know.
Are you into that at all?
I am.
Yeah, I mean, the camping part just gives that away a little bit.
Yeah.
But
yeah. The mushrooms is always. I like the mushrooms a lot too. Yeah.
No,
hopefully we'll see.
I love that. So I mean, and do you feel any sort of pride in the fact that you are Asian in the space, or is it kind of like? Because I think it's pretty cool. I the more that I meet. Actually, there's a hell of a lot of Asians that work at Jardín. I said this before, is that like we're kind of the generation that turns the corner for how we think about it, right? And that I've made a career out of touring with a weed rapper, and I'm making a career out of you know, being here at Jardín. So it's actually cool, man. I feel like we're trailblazers, especially Dr. Fu, man. I think he's definitely a trailblazer in a lot of ways, just hearing his history.
I think there's a lot of, I just think it's just a different time too. There's so much, everything's like a melting pot, right? So there's more openness.
And that's what's great about the plant too, is that everyone can partake. It's not, you know, it's.
I feel like before it was like, oh, Asian, like maybe a little bit stop on it, but because it's such a melting pot, this world is changing.
Right.
People are more open.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
No, I love that.
Working with everyone, right? So
I mean, I just need to see more like mainstream Asian rappers or something like that.
What was
you know,
that? Jet? No, not Jet.
I know you're talking about. Why are we forgetting?
He
was the guy from
Rough Riders. He was
from 106. Jin. Ah, that's right. I love. You know what?
Where'd he go? Let's look for him.
That's the perfect way to end this conversation.
Jin, where you at?
The shout out to Jin, because we all looked at Jin on MTV and was like, "Yo, go ahead.
I'm gonna look for his Instagram.
Go ahead, Asian brother. Let's send him some. Maybe he's a weed smoker. You know, maybe he likes to dab.
Doesn't hurt to ask.
But thank you so much for being here, spending time meeting your team. This is the first time I'm meeting Waldo and Dr. Fu and you as well. So it sounds like whenever the lab rat position opens up, just
Okay.
let me know so I can
All right, I'm knocking on that door.
so I can make sure that your product is great. But no, we do love your product here, Jardín. It was cool to know that we've been supporting your product since the beginning.
Yeah.
So thank you
sure.
for being great
Been a long
partners,
road.
and thank you for giving us good ass weed. Thank
Yeah.
you so much.
Yeah.
I appreciate
Thank you
it.
guys.
That's it.
Jardín, Las Vegas.